So I'm excited for this next segment. This next segment is going to be incredible. Sean threw out this idea to us, and he wanted us to come up with an all-time team of players that's first name started with a J. But the caveat was it had to be 2000 to current. So after the
and they just had to have played. So like they could be largely like most of their career in the 90s, but like they hung on a little bit, played a couple games in 2000. Like that would still qualify that particular individual.
Okay,
do you know what I'm saying?
Yep. So let's start at. We'll just go position by position. So we'll start right behind the dish. Let's start right off the top. Sean, who are you taking? First name J behind the dish.
First name J. So catcher, I got to tell you, man, going through, it was harder than I anticipated with a few positions because, like, I think Joe Mauer's a great one. Yeah. Joe Mauer is a stud, right? Joe Mauer. But like, I was talking myself into JT Realmuto. And then Jason Varitek is also on the list, who's like, I love Jason Varitek growing up, but like, I don't necessarily quite think that like the peak Jason Varitek is like up there with like peak Joe Mauer or peak JT. I think if I had to settle for one, I would say probably Joe Mauer, but like with a caveat, but Joe Mauer.
Yeah, so I also went with Joe Mauer, and I debated between Joe Mauer, Jorge Posada, and Javi Lopez.
And that's Diego. Yeah,
so because like, those are all three guys that were.
Catcher had quite a few.
It was a good kind of range for catchers. Those early 2000s.
Yeah,
was a great time for catchers. There were a bunch of good catchers in that window.
My favorite baseball player of all time. I'm going with him. It's Jason Varitek.
Josh Gibson. For me. Oh wait, wrong era.
yeah, 1920s maybe, but it's Jason Varitek. He caught 4 no-hitters. He would get hot with a bat. You couldn't get him out in stretches. Switch hitter. I listen. I get Joe Mauer. He's a Hall of Famer, but Jason Varitek playing in the Little League, college, and the actual World Series. I have Jason Varitek. Complete homer pick there, but it's Jason Varitek for me there.
Hard to argue.
Yeah. All right. First base. I'm taking the reins on this one because there was a lot. I juggled between a couple, but I settled on Jim Thome.
Jim Thome's a great one.
Yeah.
Jim Thome's a great one.
Probably one of the best first basemen you could pick from that era. Probably the best. I took my boy Joey Votto. I want me some Joey Votto on my baseball team.
That's a great one.
So I'm going to go back-to-back Twins. I'm going to take Justin Morneau at first base.
Nice.
And it's, a guy that, like, with Joe Mauer, those Twins teams is Joe Mauer, it was Torrey Hunter. Like, Justin Morneau kind of just, like, snuck in there. Like, you knew he was good. He was, like, every day showed up in the middle of the lineup. But I don't think he gets, like, the credit on how good he truly was.
And what an MVP award.
And how important he was to those Twins teams. So I'm going to take Justin Morneau at first base.
I like it.
Like I asked Sean in the chat, I was like, do I get double points if their first and last name starts with J? So I was like John Jaso and Jock Jones. I'll take Jock Jones for center. He's a twin. Counts.
Yeah, that's right.
But, you can make yourself an all Twins team at this rate.
Yeah, right. All right. Second base. Who we taking?
All right, I'll go first. I took Jose Altuve.
Boo.
I know.
With the trash can or without?
Obviously with, but
okay, fair.
Okay. I mean, like you wouldn't take a guy who was cheating and knew what pitches were coming.
It's facts. I would. Making me win.
I took Altuve.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I think Altuve's a really good one. Jeff Kent is also on there. I know Nick had, when we were throwing names around the other day, Jeff Kent is a really good one. With the understanding that I'm going to go back and revise this a little bit, fine tune this, I'm going to take Altuve right now because I got to tell you, I didn't have him on my original list. And once Harrison just mentioned him, it's kind of, I can't get him out of my head. So I'm gonna take Altuve now, but fine tune it. We're gonna clean this thing up, and that is probably going to be scheduled to change in a little bit here.
Fair enough.
I'm taking Jeff Kent. Only
Yeah, it's a
MLB second baseman to record 6 straight 100 RBI seasons. He was there day in, day out. It's Jeff Kent for me. I don't think it's even close, to be honest. I mean, it's close. It's up for discussion. Altuve's getting there. Altuve's getting
Jeff
there,
Kent
but-
is in a league of his own. And
Yeah.
I will say, full disclosure, I made it my mission to not have any duplicates with Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there will be no duplicates here. I wanted
Yeah.
my own original team.
Yeah. Okay. Shortstop.
This one hurt because I wanted J Roll, but
Yeah.
I took Jose Reyes, who I think was really, really fun to watch in that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Who do you got, Sean?
Yeah, so I had when you had sent yours and had Jimmy Rollins, this was my number one, like
Your
I
1-1.
disagree. And
disagree.
this was my 1-1, like this is what I disagree with, and it's because I actually don't think it's close. I think it's Jose Reyes at short over Jimmy Rollins by a margin. I know that's not a
Okay.
popular. I understand that's I
Okay.
get it.
All right.
But like I think I would take, if you give me that pick 100 times, 100 times I'm taking Jose Reyes.
Well, and I think if you go peak Jose Reyes versus peak Jimmy Rollins, I think that's the argument. If you look at overall Jose Reyes versus overall Jimmy
Sure.
Rollins, then
You-
Jimmy
you-
Rollins wins that one.
Probably. He did have a more sustained, like
Yes.
the career lasted longer, and
Yeah.
and he was towards the end of his career still was a more meaningful player.
Yes.
But if we're talking like, all time, like at their best, I don't know if there is a shortstop in baseball, let alone first name starts with J. I don't know if there was one in that time frame that was better than Jose Reyes.
Yeah. I'm gonna switch mine and get my double points and say JJ Hardy.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's Jimmy Rollins for sure. I think I loved Jose Reyes. I saw him live a few times. I loved
So did I.
his range at shortstop. It was crazy. I saw him make a play in the hole in Colorado that not many shortstops would make. And no, not even Derek Jeter would have made that play. He just had an absolute cannon on his right arm.
Unless you put
along
some
with a
stands there, then Jeter would have made the play and dove into the stands for the little extra flair.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. The third base, I don't even think this one's remotely close to being
It's not.
And
It's not.
we probably all have the same one. Unless
Yeah,
you came up.
Oh, no,
you
I've
said-
got somebody different. I have somebody different.
Who do you
do you
got,
got?
Harrison? I couldn't think of a second one.
Give me MVP season Josh Donaldson.
Oh,
All right, yeah. Okay.
But literally, like the only other third baseman I could come up with that was even worth talking about.
I couldn't think of another J at third, to be completely honest. But
yeah, that's right. Josh Donaldson would work. You're right.
I mean,
Yeah.
at his peak, Donaldson was, granted, the dude is like mentally unstable, but like he had that 3 or 4 year window where he was a terror on the baseball field.
Yeah. I don't think I actually said his name, but Jose Ramirez.
Yeah,
It's
J-Ram.
It's J-Ram
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's J-Ram.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
in the last 20 years, like that is definitely your best third baseman.
Yeah.
With a J.
And if you're listening to the show and you have another name that you're like
Yeah,
think
throw
like
it.
shout it at us.
Yeah,
'cause I'm
please.
sure we're missing some guys here. So all right, left field. I am taking a guy that played maybe 20 games in 2000,
That's okay.
which qualifies.
That qualifies.
I'm taking 109 RBIs before the All-Star break. Juan Gonzalez. That's who I'm taking in left field right there.
I mean,
Juan,
he was an RBI machine.
for that first half, anyways.
Yeah, right.
Who do you guys got?
Go ahead, Harrison.
So I'm going with a guy who didn't play a lot of outfield, but did play the outfield in JD Martinez.
Oh, I like that. I'm going to steal that one.
Okay.
Sean, you
I
can
like
have,
that.
You can
Yeah.
have JD.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it works. He's
It does.
you know,
He played the outfield in Detroit.
He's been out there every now and again.
Who
And
was your
boy can
original
hit.
left fielder?
I like I said, I approached this differently than you guys. I didn't come up with like, this is my team, this is my team. I just had a bunch of names, and I thought
Gotcha.
that we would come out on the show and just kind of hammer them out and come up with like a rounding
Yeah.
third team. Do you know what I mean?
All right.
So I
Yeah,
kind of
we'll-
approach it a little bit differently.
It's all right. We'll go back through and narrow it down.
You know, one name I almost put in place was Jermaine Dye.
Yeah. So Jermaine Dye, I had him listed as like I had him on the list of center fielders though, or was he? Do you have him as a left fielder?
I think he went around. I think he kind of moved around.
He,
But
he
I
played
mean,
all three.
I had him more as. Center,
I
take that is a good one.
I take it more like outfield versus position by
Sure,
position
yeah,
because
like-
so many
like
of these
all-star.
guys move around.
Like all, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That's fair. All right, center field.
Center field. There was a few.
There
Jermaine
are a
Dye
few.
being one. I mean, Johnny Damon you could have in there.
Johnny
Jim
Damon's who I have. I have
Jim
Damon.
Edmonds you could have in there.
I mean, but Jim Edmonds is like, I feel like he's like so far and away the best center fielder of that era with a J.
Yeah.
Probably
Like total package.
Yeah.
I also have I used to run base like Juan Pierre.
Oh, Juan Pierre.
Juan Pierre.
So that's another.
Juan Pierre was like Juan Pierre. If we were like building a roster, not just like starting lineup, Juan Pierre's there just because like he could wreak havoc on the base pass.
Oh my goodness, he was so
for
fast.
defensive replacement. He's not like you don't want him starting for you every day.
He
No,
had,
like,
he
you're not
had
gonna-
3 or 4 seasons of 200 hits.
I know. Jim Edmonds is the right answer here.
I mean, you're not wrong, John.
for
Jim
sure.
Edmonds is so far and away the best center
the
fielder.
right answer.
Like of that era, it's Jim Edmonds all day.
Yeah.
I took Johnny Damon as my consolation prize because I was not going to duplicate Nick. Although Damon's career is not anything to sneeze at either.
No, I agree. And then right field here.
Oh, just JD Drew, easiest one of the bunch.
Joey
out.
Bats.
I'm out. Bye.
Joey Bats.
Just good.
I was tempted to actually put JD Drew in my lineup just to be like, I had him too, Sean. Because I've been like the most anti JD Drew guy on this show.
I can't. I mean, he was a nice player. He was
look
solid.
at his career, and you look at his career and go, all right, he was a pretty nice little player. Was he your typical corner outfielder with big time power and all that stuff? No, he was an on base machine. Took a lot of walks, drove in a fair number of runs, but he drove you freaking crazy.
Had some pop.
Yeah. And he made a difficult right field at Fenway Park look like a walk in the park. He made right field, and that right field at Fenway makes all-star caliber road players
it ruins
foolish.
Yeah.
Foolish. This guy played 80 games a year out there.
Yep.
And never seemed to lose a ball like in that kind of Bermuda Triangle there, where like the pesky's pole, and then it like juts out and kind of pinballs around. Never seemed to lose a ball in there. Never got getting up into the corner. Always was on. He made right field look so easy, and that is not an easy right field.
No, you're
I
not
say
wrong.
it a bit tongue in cheek because it's like he was a nice little player, but that's a hill that I will die on. And I think it's a worthy hill to die on. That JD Drew does not get the credit that he deserves for the type of player he was over the course of his career, because people in Boston were butthurt that they paid him so much money. How is that his fault? What's he supposed to do? Say, no, I'm not worth that amount of money? The Red Sox offered it. He's going to get it. He was exactly who he was throughout his career in Boston.
Sean.
There was no promises that he made that he didn't follow through on. This is exactly the type of player he was. It's not his fault that the Red Sox paid him $1 bajillion.
Sean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say the Red Sox would not have had nearly the same success they had without him, because he was
100%.
He was a fantastic complementary piece to everything else they had. Although he drove me crazy, he was like the best complementary piece that they could have to round that all off.
And I think it was the perfect time and the perfect team to bring him in, because he wasn't exactly a big vocal leader. So you didn't need him to be. Like he could stick to himself and be quiet and kind of like wear no emotions on his sleeves and just,
Dude is a robot.
Take three fastballs down the middle with the bases loaded, not take the bat off his shoulder, and then walk to the dugout like he didn't care. And like people would get mad at that. It's like, but that's who he is.
I'm people.
I know, but like, that's who he is. Like that's who he is. It's not like you.
He would.
It's who he is. It's not that he doesn't care. I'm sure he cares.
He'd get a 2-0 fastball down the middle, and he wouldn't even blink at it.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, swing the bat. And then he'd work a walk in that at bat, and you're like, you should have put that ball in the seats, man.
Yeah. I hear you. No, listen.
And he would flip his bat and do a little trot to first base like he was the happiest guy on the planet, and that used to drive me freaking crazy.
Yeah.
I will admit that there were parts of his game that would frustrate me, but on the whole, I think he was a very, very good baseball player. That was a good baseball player for every team that he played on.
Yes. Yeah. Well, to be clear, when you say he drove people crazy, I am people.
Yeah. I get it.
I am juggling between two. I'm going, I think, with Jose Canseco. Just because I can.
It's just because of bombs.
And Joey Bats would be my other one.
That's who I had. Joey Bats all the way.
Yeah. Batista's a beast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
With an absolute cannon for an arm, too. Holy
he had a cannon.
Oh.
And he's been known to flip a bat or two.
Yeah. We hear.
Yeah. All right. This is where it could get interesting here. Who is your starting pitcher?
What do we do? DH.
Oh, DH. Sorry, I forgot.
Jeez.
My DH is Joey Votto. So Harrison took him at first base, but I'm taking him as my DH.
My DH, Jason Giambi.
Very good. Okay. I had Giambi. I'll go Jeff Bagwell at DH.
Oh, I really wanted to put Jeff Bagwell in the lineup somewhere. I couldn't find a spot for him.
Yeah, I'll just put him at DH.
Loved Bagwell.
I'll take Jeremy Giambi just because he was safe at home on the Jeter flip play. For all you Yankees fans out there, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yikes.
All right, starting pitcher. Who do you got? There's three that I have a hard time.
I am so Jeff Francoeur, honorable mention. You want to talk about a guy that had a hose? Jeff Francoeur had a hose.
Yeah, and a good arm. I got John Smoltz. As my starting pitcher.
I got Justin Verlander as my starting pitcher. Yeah. And,
do you also have
Nick
John
took
Smoltz
my starting pitcher.
Do you also have John Smoltz as your closer? Because that would be awesome.
I do have Smoltz.
No, but I should do that.
I've got Smoltz as my closer.
I should do that.
Yeah. I had Verlander. He's in my 3, but I'm going Johan Santana.
That was my pick all the way. I love Johan Santana.
And the one guy that every single baseball fan was robbed of is Jose Fernandez.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we were robbed to see this guy would have been pretty much in the peak of his career right now. Just to see what he would have been able to do. He was so dominant when he came up. It would have been something to see at this point. So we all got robbed of that. But that's who I had. I had Johan Santana, Fernandez, and Justin Verlander as my 3 that I was trying to juggle back. But I'm taking Johan.
Yeah, I wanted to take Johan. You took him, so I took Verlander, which I'm not upset about.
No.
Although Santana is like one of my 3 favorite pitchers ever to watch. Like the changeup was a joke watching him pitch.
Devastating.
It's a joke.
All right. Relief pitcher.
I went Joe Nathan.
Oh, good one.
Joe Nathan.
I loved Joe Nathan. He was so lights out for a while.
That's a great one.
I'm going off vibes for mine, and not even because like he was great, but just all-time vibes guy, just John Rocker.
I was hoping somebody would pick him.
Just vibes guy. I mean, he just, you just need a vibe guy in the locker room.
Dude, whenever you need AA batteries, just trot them out to the mound and just pick them up from the field.
Dude, if there's anybody I'm going to get on the 7 train with, it's Rocker for sure.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
That's good to know in a couple of weeks when I'm on the 7 train. So. I have 2. First one's Jeff Nelson.
So good.
Good one.
The second one is a complete homer pick, and I pulled this name. You ready? Justin Masterson.
Oh, I used to love Masterson.
Yeah. I'd be willing to bet most people that know Justin Masterson know him as a Cleveland Indian. Jabba Chamberlain's a great one.
Jabba Chamberlain's a really good one.
That's a good one too. Jabba
Chamberlain's a great one, actually.
Every time I think of Jabba Chamberlain, I just think
The
of that
bugs?
play out, the bugs all
The
over
midges.
his neck.
Yeah, the
Oh my
midges in
God, that was
Cleveland all over
so
him.
bad.
And
So bad.
Dude,
With
he
Joe-
deserves an award. He didn't balk
Oh.
once.
No,
No.
which is there's no way. Could you imagine doing that in the pitch clock era now, having to like rush through that?
Oh.
I remember two things. I remember Joba Chamberlain getting eaten up by the midges in Cleveland, and when Chamberlain came back to Yankee Stadium and drilled Derek Jeter. I
Yeah.
remember that clip too.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
Jabba Chamberlain's a great one.
That is a
He
good
was
one.
so good for a while there.
All right. And to close it out, who's your closer?
I debated with going with Jonathan Papelbon and decided against it and went with John Smoltz.
Okay.
Yeah, Papelbon.
Hard to argue.
Yeah,
I'm going-
yeah. Good.
I'm going John Wetland.
John Wetland's a good one.
That's a good one.
Did he
I
play
also-
much into the 2000s?
I don't think it was much.
I'm not
but
I'm
but
not
it was-
challenging your pick. I'm just curious.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's getting
that's fine.
fact checked. Let's
I'm
fact
not.
check him.
It's not. I was more just curious.
He
It-
played it. He
played,
played in 2000. That was
In
it.
2000, yeah, he played.
I got a couple of guys right on the cusp.
Yeah, you got 20 games from Juan Gonzalez, and Nick's living on the margins.
That's
all right.
got to. I also have Jason Isringhausen, honorable mention.
Yeah, who couldn't make it as a starter but became a fantastic reliever.
Yep. And then a current closer right now is Joan Duran or
Just
John
throws
Duran.
absolute
I
gas.
don't know how you pronounce his name. His name's spelt all weird, but yeah.
Whatever.
So, but
He's
yeah,
nasty.
I'm going Wetland there. But
Wetland had some time.
yeah, setting up Rivera there for a while is crazy.
What's the thing? That's the thing too. Like you kind of forget about the fact that he wasn't a closer for a while because he was the best setup guy in baseball.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that 8-9 combo was ridiculous. I
It was
mean,
lethal. It was just go home.
oh yeah. I mean, and the funny part is like the Yankees won, what was it, 96, 97, 98?
Yeah.
He was only there
that's
for the-
another good one too.
He was only there for the 96 championship. Then he was in Texas.
JJ Putz.
Oh, JJ Putz. Yeah, he was good.
Double points for John.
There you go, John. Nice job. John might have
JJ.
won this. John might basically
Yeah,
comment,
John
might have
was
won.
sneaky with some great ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
those are good.
John might have won this.
All right. So here's our trip. We got to come up with one team
Oh,
between the three of us. Who are we putting behind the dish? It's got to be Mauer, right?
it's got to be Mauer. Yeah, it's got to be Mauer.
Yeah.
Okay. First base.
Probably Tommy.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's got to be Tommy. It's,
Okay.
I mean, as good as Votto and Bagwell and all those guys are, like Tommy was
And
next level.
more no, but it's got to be Tommy. It's got to be
Yep.
Jim Tommy.
Agreed. Second base has to be Jeff Kent. There's
Jeff
no
Kent.
debate.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff Kent.
Shortstop has to be Jose Reyes. There's no debate there. So.
All right. I mean, I'll go with
no.
two out
No,
of the
no.
three.
Listen,
I'll go
man,
with two
it's-
out of the three.
it's- I mean, there's really no wrong one between those two.
No, your team's going to be really good with either of those guys on your lineup. But we'll take Jose Reyes. So,
I mean, Rollins got the MVP in 2007. He's got
Mhm.
overall
four
body
Gold Gloves.
of work, it's Jimmy Rollins. Peak talent, it's Jose Reyes. Pick one.
We'll go with Rollins. We'll go with Jimmy Rollins.
J.
All
Rollins.
right. All right. We'll just take my whole starting lineup then. I get it. I got the best one. All right.
Third
who we-
base, it's J. Ram.
Yeah,
Has to be.
Ramirez.
Yeah.
Has to
Okay.
be.
And then we'll just do 3 outfield spots. So who are our 3 outfield spots?
I think Jim Edmonds is obviously one.
Edmonds has to be, yeah.
Joey
Joey Bats is probably the other one. Is another one.
Yeah, probably.
I would
Jim
take Joey-
Edmonds, Batista, Jose Batista, and
I have Juan Gonzalez, Jason Bay. We didn't mention.
No,
Jason Bay, another one.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're gonna, you'd have to take Juan gone. out of
Juan
that group,
gone,
too.
I would say.
Okay.
That dude is just an RBI machine.
Yeah. And then our DH.
We had what? Giambi, Bagwell, and
Votto.
Votto.
Probably Giambi.
I say it's probably it's
I mean, it's probably
Well,
Giambi.
You could also
Again,
take
like-
you could also take anybody else that we didn't pick and put him in that DH spot.
Right.
So you got Justin Morneau. You got
yeah, right.
so that's
it's
a hard
it's
one.
probably Bagwell or Giambi when you look at the total body of work.
Who's pitching? Am I taking the righty or am I taking the lefty?
Yeah. So here's what we'll do. We're gonna take Giambi at DH with Bagwell on the bench.
Okay.
Deal.
Yeah.
We'll cover lefty and righty.
Yeah.
Deal.
Starting
right.
pitcher, it's Johan Santana.
I mean, I agree because he was my pick, but Justin Verlander is way up there.
Yeah. I mean, John Smoltz might.
Is also
One of the
way
best,
up
he's
there.
one of the
too.
best pitchers that's ever stepped on the field. Like I don't know how
I would
we
keep
can so easily say.
I'd keep him for the closer because he was such a good closer.
Okay.
Would you rather see him as a starter?
I mean, I guess I
That's a
don't
hard
really
one.
care as long as he's on the team.
Oh yeah, no, I would argue with him for the closer for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, then I can deal with that then.
All right.
And if
Right.
it's not Smoltz as a starting pitcher, I would say Johan.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we're unanimous on Johan Santana.
Yeah. I mean, crazy. 213 wins, 154 saves was Smoltz. I mean,
yeah.
like
Dumb. It's dumb.
Nuts. 3,000 strikeouts, almost 3,500 innings pitched. I mean, gross.
And the dude was better after he got his elbow chopped up.
Yeah. So he's on the roster. So
All right.
Maybe
So we're
it's
going
not.
Johan. So reliever, we had what? Nathan Nelson and who else do we have?
Jabba Chamberlain, JJ Putz were given to us. Those are the
I-
real ones.
I like the JJ Putz one to
I
be
do
honest.
too. I
Let's
do
go,
too.
JJ Putz. You win, John.
Yep. I love that pick. That's
John's
a
gonna
good one.
sneak in there with a JJ Putz pick. All right.
I like that.
Yep.
And then closer,
And
I
then
think
Smoltz.
it's got to go Smoltz.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the only way to
Alright.
get him on the roster. So
It's a good squad.
yeah.
That team might win a few games.
Maybe.
It's a good squad.